From SOS to yakisoba, we're reviving military eats, past and present. Relive those worst of times, best of times. Allow your senses to take you back as we spice up these classics. Today we're tackling ham and lima beans, a staple in the military, common practice. Basically it's just ham and lima beans made into a stew or soup. So we're going to do a little twist. We're going to take this smoked ham and we're going to smoke it again. We're going to be using Infidel pork rub by Grill Your Ass Off. All we're going to do is we're going to score this, put it on a rack, throw it in the smoker, and let it just get some good color and extra smoke flavor on it. Today we're diving into the gritty history of ham and lima beans, a dish that fed soldiers through World War II and Vietnam, but earned the not-so-friendly nickname ham and motherfuckers. Born in the 1940s, it was a chow hall and sea ration staple because it was cheap, shelf-stable, and packed with protein, perfect for troops in the field. Canned ham and lima beans could sit for months, then get heated up in a pot or even a helmet. Soldiers groaned about the slimy texture and bland taste, and that nickname. Yeah, it came straight from Vietnam-era grumbling. It's a legend of Army grit, though, and we're bringing it back with a flavor rescue using Grill Your Ass Off seasonings, a smoky, veteran-owned blend of seasonings that turn dishes into something you'll actually love. Let's cook. You can score it as much or as little as you want. This is all going to get diced up later and put in you don't have to go super deep, and I'm trying to go a little deeper so it'll open up some and get some of that smoke on the inside. Alright, now we're just going to dust it generously with Infidel pork rub. Try to open it up, get some of that rub in the middle. We'll place it on our grilling rack and go in the smoker. Alright, so we have our ham here after it's been smoked for maybe an hour or two. Like I said, it's already was pre-cooked. If you're doing something like ham hocks or something else, you put it on a little longer, get some more color to it, but this is already pre-cooked, already pre-smoked. So now we're just going to dice this up. We're going to toss it in a little more of the Infidel pork rub, and then we'll get ready to add it to our pot with our beans, and we'll get this ham and lima beans recipe going. Because this is going in like a soup or a stew kind of thing. Season it up really good because it's going to wash a little bit of it off. That's why we want to get a crust on it a little bit, get some texture, get some of that caramelization coloring going. So when we put it in there with the lima beans and the broth and all that stuff, that it actually adds more flavor to the pot. All right, so now we're going to do that. Now that we've done that, we're going to let it sit and rest while we go ahead and get our pot ready for our lima beans and to get ready to put this in. Alright, so for this ham and lima beans recipe, we're going to take a pot, we're going to put a little oil in it, get it nice and hot. Now I've doubled this recipe for our family. What you see here is double what you would normally have. So we're doing, we have onion. So this is 2 whole onions. A single portion, a single serving of this, or the original would be 1 onion and 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. We got 6 cloves of garlic, and we're going to let this get hot. Then we're going to saute this up. Then we're going to add our meat to it, get a little color on it as well in the pot, and then we'll add it with our lima beans And then we take our chicken stock or vegetable stock and add that as well, and let it render down, cook down until the beans are done. It's about at this point we're ready to start adding our ham in. Let's saute it up, starting to get the brown edges on the onions and the garlic, getting a little char. That's what we're looking for. We've added our ham in, and now we're just going to stir it up and saute it up. This is about 3 pounds of ham. We really only need about a pound per pound of beans, but we're adding a little extra because you gotta have that extra protein, and also that adds better flavor. But the Army's recipe would have had just 1 pound per pound of lima beans. Okay, what we have here are 2 pounds of lima beans, soaked overnight. Added salt, pepper, garlic to it after I drained it, and then we're going to add all of our stuff to this once this gets done sauteing up. All right, so we got some good color on this. We're going to add it to this pot with the beans, and we're going to deglaze this pot with a little bit of the broth just to kind of get some of that fond to add some good flavor to this. All right, so we've sauteed everything down. We've added it to the pot with the beans, and we've added approximately 4 cups of chicken stock. I'm going to add a little bit more water. I'm going to get this to where it's covered. We're going to let this simmer. So we're going to add some water, probably maybe another 3 or 4 cups worth of water, and let this simmer and cook down. All right, so I added another approximately 6 cups of water till it covered everything real good. I stirred it up one more time, and I've turned it on low. We're going to let this simmer for at least an hour, and we'll see how it turns out. Check our beans, make sure they're done. And once the beans are done, you're pretty much done with this. That's why this is a great meal for the Army, because it could be done on one big pot if you wanted to. You can throw the beans in. A lot of times they use canned beans instead of dry beans, but having to use dry beans, you have to do the soak overnight and everything. But you can use canned or dried. I used dried because I couldn't find any canned lima beans. I can find canned of just about any other bean, but not limas. So anyway, we'll let this continue to cook. All right, we've cooked it down. We've got looking real good. The beans are done. We're going to let it go a little bit longer. Try to reduce some of this water that's in here, the broth. Get it more of a thicker consistency. We'll be done. All right, guys, what we have here is a ham and lima bean soup that I made to match the original recipe they made for the C rations. So this was primarily a C ration from the late 40s through the 1980s. It was added to the C ration because of its protein level and the how good it was for the soldier, not necessarily how good it tasted. That's why it got a nickname, ham and mofos. So, but anyway, this is my take on it, using grill your ass off Infidel pork rub and a little bit of salt, pepper, garlic, as well as chicken broth and all that kind of stuff. So let's dig into it. I made some pieces of toast to go with it, because usually would have been served, you would have had in your C rations, you would have had some crackers or a bread of some sort. So we just kind of go with the original thing. I also, because I know, especially my time, we had Tabasco sauce, just in case it might need a little extra hit, just had some Tabasco sauce on hand. So let's give this a try. Get some of that broth, get some beans, and get some ham. A little bit of heat, but not a lot, because Infidel doesn't have a lot. It's more of a sweet, smoky. That's a good flavor. Oh yeah. Beans are done just perfect. They're not super mushy. They're just soft. So they're good. And then let's try it with some of this toast. I can see how this would have been a hearty meal. Get enough calories in. Anyway, this is pretty good. This would definitely be a great fall meal.
wintertime, something like that. But most of this time when we got the soldiers had this, it would have been in sea rations, like I said, in cans. So that's one of the reasons why it was eaten cold. One of the soldiers who's in the airborne said the best way to have it was to take some cheese and melt it into it when it's hot and add some hot sauce to it. But I don't think we need any hot sauce for this, although that might be a good addition. I can see why, if somebody had cooked this and thought this would be a good meal, and then of course through production and made it worse by canning it, having to preserve it, I can see how it could get worse. But man, this is really good. Give it a try.